Om Nilambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Pāṇau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Rāmam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. We continue with the Ramayana, also known as Ramacharita in Bala Kanda. The Doha number we are reaching out to is 34. Tulsidas has presented a very colorful picture of the time when he started composing the Ramayana, and all the details and insights I have given to you before. Asura Nag Khag Nagar Naramuni Deva Ai Karahi Raghunayaka Seva Janma Mahotsava Rachahi Sujana Karahi Kala Rama Kalakirati Gana. In Ayodhya, where Tulsidas started composing the Ramayana, Tulsidas is describing the glory of Ayodhya, the glory of that abode where Rama was born. All beings, asuras, they are not gods, demons, snakes, birds, human beings, sages, saints, and gods. They all abide, they all flock to Ayodhya, and they attend on, they serve Rama with devotion. Gives you a picture of when Rama was born. How did Ayodhya look like? Allegorically, if Rama Bhakti is born in your heart, how will your personality look like? The asuras in you, the forces of demon, the negative forces of the lower self, nagas in you, the snakish thoughts that stay in your unconscious. Khagas are birds, the birdly imaginations that fly on their wings. Nara, the human aspect. Muni, the saintly aspect. Deva, the divine aspect. All these go to form human personality. We are a whole world composed in a miniature form. So you're never alone. The only thing is that when Rama is not there in your heart, your personality is disintegrated. The moment Rama comes in your heart, a divine unity develops in different elements of your personality. A divine process of integration begins to take place. So every part of your personality is benefited as Rama comes in. Rama is life of life. If life has departed, the whole personality becomes nothing, rather ominous. The moment life comes in, the whole personality becomes enjoyable. This picture is given. Similarly, understand, with Rama Bhakti, you are alive in a profound way. All elements of your personality are active, vigorous. But if Ram Bhakti has not developed in your heart, then you are just dead. Waiting for worms, etc. The ghastliest expression. But there is a profound truth in it. Life lived without a profound purpose, not a profound purpose, but the purpose of self-realization. Lived with the purpose of attaining God realization. If God is not there, all your attainments are zeros. If God is there, then every attainment has a meaning. It's simply a mathematic. Write so many zeros, and you get nothing out of it. But put one before the zeros, and each zero has a meaning and a value. With God within you, all the zeros that you develop in your personality, all that you gain in the world are zeros. Try to understand in a profound way. But all attainments become powerful. They have meaning, value. Without Rama Bhakti, all attainments in your life are putting you into repeated embodiment. Repeated embodiment is a matter of chance, how things will happen, led by your karmas. Life will tell you story of gain and loss, victory and defeat, and you pass on into the pages of history until the pages are eaten up by worms. But with Rama Bhakti, that's what Tulsidas is describing. Janma Mahotsava, Rama is born in your heart. Majjahi sajjana brindabha pavan sarju neer. Japahi Rama dhari dhyanaur sundara shyama sarir. This is a description of Ayodhya, sanctified by Rama's birth. As I have explained to Ayodhya, Ayodhya relates to battle. Where all battles end. Battles, fights, violence, where all violence ends forever. That's Ayodhya. That's where Rama was born. In his storyline. In mystic line, that's when you are become absolutely free from hatred, anger, animosity, a sense of duality. You become one with Rama. Rama is born, that again is another way of saying that now you are moving towards Rama Leela. You will experience the progressive advancement of your soul. This allegorical description continues. Tulsidas draws your attention to the pilgrimage in Ayodhya by the banks of the Saryu River. Saryu River is a tributary of Ganges River, a branch of the Ganges. Ganges is the symbolic of bhakti and jnana, devotion and wisdom. And Saryu is a specialized aspect of the same bhakti and jnana. Devotees go there in the Yamuna, in the Saryu River, early in the morning, or even during the day, at any time, they enter into the pure water of the Saryu river and meditate on Lord Rama with his blue complexion. Blue complexion is a symbolic color for eternity. Simple way to understand how blue is comforting to your eyes. That's why God painted the sky blue. It has become mystical color of comfort and a subtle opening to eternity. The sky, is just not just simple blue, but it is, allegorically saying, a gateway to boundless expansion. The blue color is not a reality or something obstructing you. It's just a maya, an illusion. Beyond the blue, there is boundless expansion. So, you meditate on God with blue complexion. Blue complexion fascinates your mind. But after the stage of fascination goes off, there is a stage of enlightenment. And that enlightenment is just like you have gone beyond, you dove into the blueness, to the endless expansion of the self. So just the blue complexion in God's has profound meaning. It opens the door to abstraction. Daras parasas majjana rupana, harayi papa kahaveda purana, nadi punitam admita mahima ati, kahina sakai sarada vimalamati. This is meant to promote upasana, a devout meditation. When you turn to Ramayana, you can imagine you are entering into Saryu river, joining with the devotees, enjoying all the divine vibrations that are created in that pilgrimage center. And that again has another angle. It is not something that is being told to you for you to believe. But scriptures like Ramayana, every verse in it is like mantra. A mantra with potency. Because countless people have gone on listening to Ramayana and they have found tremendous comfort, solace, peace, spiritual enlightenment through Ramayana. And all those potencies have come to be hidden in every verse of the Ramayana. The verses have developed mantra potency. In homeopathic medicines, they always talk about potency. The medicine remains the same, but its potency, they enhance it. So, reading ordinary poems, etc., one side. Reading poem of Ramayana has tremendous impact if you read it with proper attitude and feeling. And this is the attitude and feeling to develop, that you have gone into Ayodhya, you are by the banks of the Saryu river, and you are joining with thousands of devotees. Among them, there are many bearded yogis. and you're enjoying a special grace. The very darshan of Saryu river, darshan is to behold, to see the river. Darshan, sparsh, daras, paras, touching the water, bathing in water, subsiping the water. In each of these acts, rather by each of these acts, so many sinful karmas are washed away. So just like you would in pilgrimage center have that type of feeling. That's what the devotees go there, they look at the river, they adore, they touch the river, put the water on their head with great devotion. They enter into the river. With prayers, they duck into the river. And they have their own plan, how many times to get inside. And they sip the water. In all these acts, devotees feel so blessed. Study of Ramayana brings you all those points in your feeling. The Ramayana is like a Saryu river. This river, Ayodhya, rather Saryu, is extremely holy, pure. The glory of this river is endless. Even Goddess Saraswati cannot describe the glory of that river. They always say that it doesn't mean that Goddess Saraswati doesn't have the power. But how can you describe snake on the rope? Any description given to human mind is a matter of, to understand there are different states of mind. And you don't give a description unless the mind has capacity to understand it. No matter how intelligent you may be, a 5-year-old asks you questions of difficult phenomena. How does it rain? What happens when there is a rainbow? And no matter how intelligent you may be, you may think you are Saraswati. Lovingly will try to explain that to the baby. But you cannot exactly tell what it is. Not because you lack it. Try to understand the point. Rāma dhāma dāpuri suhavani loka samasta vidita ati pavani charikhani jagajiva apara avadata jetanu nahi sansara. The glory of Ayodhya, Rama's abode, is being described. That abode is the giver of supreme goal. Just like you hear the praises of Kashi. Whoever dies in Kashi goes to liberation. That's what the general statement. Similarly, whoever dies in Ayodhya Puri, he is not born again. In this world, there are 4 types of jivas. And those jivas are anants, boundless, endless, innumerable. 4 types: andaj, egg-born; svedaj, sweat-born; udvij, earth-born, breaking the earth; this Jarayuj, born of sex relation. This is the ancient language of describing different types of souls. Souls that are trees, trees and all types of herbs and plants. That's called Udvij. Souls that are bacteria, germs, and all types of disease, viruses, sweat-borne. And of course, birds, etc., they are egg-borne. But all human beings, animals, most of them, they are Jarayuj, sex-related birth. But all these souls, essentially, they are Rāma, Brahman. Just like the sun is only one, but there are countless reflections of the sun. The sun reflecting in a drop of water. The sun reflecting in a bucket of water. The sun reflecting in swimming pools. The sun reflecting in lakes and so forth. There are countless reflections. Similarly, there are countless jivas. But if any jiva were to shed his body in Ayodhya, he will not come back into the world. You have to understand this is not something of a simple nature. Firstly, it doesn't relate to literal, that therefore go to Ayodhya when you feel that your life has come, it's coming to an end. If you, no matter where you are, if you have developed profound bhakti, devotion to Rāma, and you die with a mind focused on Rāma, Rāma being the only reality, then you are dying in Ayodhya. Otherwise, no matter where you die, another point that sages promote, that places have their influence on you. Because if you stay and allow your last days in a holy center, you have no choice but to listen to so many prayers and mantras. Also, you are influenced by intense vibrations that have been created by sages for a long time. It is that type of association and how associations work upon your mind. That's what sages encourage. But that encouragement is kindergarten level of religion. Higher state of religion, the same sages, they begin to tell you, Manachangata Katvat me Ganga. If your mind is well, free of impurities, then even in your bathtub, you may have a spider nearby, and so forth. But in spite of all that, even in your bathtub, you will have the same benefit as you have entered into Ganges river. And even in your own puja room, you will have the same benefit as if you have gone to the greatest pilgrimage center in the world. And this is the truth about it. There is no exaggeration. Avaztajetanu nahi samsara. If you die in Ayodhya, the world process will not affect you. That means if you die with mind focused on Rāma, focused on Krishna, focused on Shiva. Rāma is the Devata name for the Ramayana. But same Rāma is Krishna, Shiva, Buddha, Jesus. If your mind is focused on that one divinity, who is all divinity, there will be no coming back. All karmas are destroyed. Sab vidhi puri manohar jani, sakal siddhi prad mangal khani, vimal katha karakin arambha, sunatana sahi kama madadambha. So it is, I chose Ayodhya Puri. That is enchanting and inspiring in every way. Giver of all siddhis. Siddhis refer to psychic powers, but here in this context, all attainments that lead your soul to liberation. It is the veritable abode of all that is auspicious. By listening to the Ramayana, impurities such as kama, mada and dambha, kama, desires, perverted desires, mada, pride or conceit, dambha, hypocrisy. All these called asuri sampat. Three are mentioned, but they include all asuri sampat. All that is negative. Anger, greed, hate, jealousy, and whatsoever, all the negative is implied, they are termed asuri sampat, demoniac wealth. If you are demon, you are acquiring that wealth more and more. If you are moving to divine, then you acquire Daivi Sampat, divine wealth. And divine wealth is amanitvam, adambitvam, the absence of pride, absence of fear, humility, generosity, graciousness, magnanimity, devotion to God. All good qualities, they become divine wealth. So by listening to, coming to Ramayana, listening to the teachings with devotion, you have as if entered into the Yamuna, into the Sarayu river, held satsanga with countless devotees, and your mind is becoming nirmal, free of impurities. Ramacharita manasa hi nama, sunat shravana paye vishrama, man kari vishay analaban jarai, hoi sukhi jo yehi saraparai. The name of this scripture is Ramacharita Manas. Manas relates to Manasarovar, a beautiful lake in the Himalayas. But this is allegorically just like that mountain lake is so beautiful. Birds, swans come to sport in that lake. And the lake is fascinating all round. In the same way, studying Ramayana, listening to Ramayana, developing devotion to Ramayana is just like allowing your mind to be fascinated by Manasa lake. The Ramayana presents itself as a mystic lake. By simple listening to the Ramayana, promotes peace, shanti. Sunat Sravana Paye Vishrama. Vishram is actually resting point. Human beings go on living, fighting, struggling, but they don't know resting point. Think of the biblical statement of Jesus. Birds have nests. And he goes on saying that himself, he doesn't find rest anywhere in the world. Simple point of philosophy. Can you think of any status, any situation that can be considered permanent in the world? Everything is transient. Therefore, how can you find eternal rest? That eternal rest is possible when you allow your soul to emerge out of all limitations and recognize that it is a ray of God. Try to think of that reflected sun. How can it find rest? Allow the reflected sun to emerge out of the bucket, out of the water. This is an allegorical statement. And recognize, I am the sun. The sun relationship, the soul must realize its essential nature. It is realizing that essential nature that gives you Vishram. And that movement to the essential nature is turning your head, your mind to Rāma. Without Rāma, there is no Vishrama. No Aram. Aram is ordinary rest. Vishram is little more profound rest. Man kari vishay analabana jarai. And here he gives poetic description of the predicament of mind that has not tasted divine love. Worldly love is a very normal expression about worldly love. You fall in it. You go on falling, life after death, life after life. But with divine love, you go on rising. Without divine love, mind experiences tapa, sufferings, Vishaya-rupi davanal. The world of sense objects, mind is compared to an elephant. The world of objects is described like a forest on fire. And your mind is constantly being tortured because of the feverish experiences arising out of the world process. If you have bhakti, if you have sweetness of surrender to God, if you have divine name to draw strength from, your mind is not like that elephant trapped, but your mind will be like a swan, or think of like a lion. All these allegorical, don't think literally you become a lion. All the Upanishads begin with Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Mystically, they describe 3 types of fires. Every soul is being tortured by 3 types of fire. Adhyatmic. Living in the body is not an ordinary thing. Believe it or not. This body-mind complex goes on giving you problem after problem, suffering after suffering. That's called subjective fire. And if you handle the subjective fire, that's not enough. You live in a world of countless living beings. You never know when you step on the toes of your neighbor. I'm just joking, but the point is, your problems arise from the world around you. Countless problems. And now with scientific advancement, the world is not far away. All the problems of the world enter your private room. That's called objective, adibhautik. And then there are acts of God. Suddenly there is earthquake or something of a catastrophic nature. All this, the world is subject to threefold fires. And in that fire, your mind is constantly becoming more and more of a thick-skinned elephant. Being roasted again and again. Turn to Ram. Simple mantra. Any deity, any mantra is very simple. Turn to that mantra and allow your mind to just relax with the spirit of surrender to God. To bring surrender to God, try to follow some of the story of Rāma, the glory of Rāma, and try to understand the entire world around you is singing the glory of Rāma. That all depends in a progressive way. So the elephant mind is suffering from the forest fire of sense enjoyments or sense objects. But just like elephant that is as if roasting in fire suddenly finds a beautiful lake, plunges into it, and look at its trunk, how it comes up with joy, showering water over its body. Similarly, your mind will act. When Ramayana, joy is introduced in your heart, every now and then you will get out of the worldly turmoils and enjoy the mystic peace of satsanga. Again, Ramayana term I'm using for satsanga. Otherwise, you should be looking for when is another Ramayana. All satsangas are Rama Katha. All spiritual teachings are stories of Rama. That's broad. But put it more specialized, Tulsi Ramayana, which has done most majestic work of putting all together in a manner that is inspiring, captivating, enchanting, and so forth. Ramacharita Manasa Muni Pavan Bhavan Virichev Shambhu Suhavan Pavan Trivita Dosha Dukadari Davan Kali Kuchali Kuli Kalusha Nashavan. Ramcharitmanas is very dear to saints and sages, because all the saints and sages, what they want to teach, the teaching flows through Ramayana very easily. This Ramayana was composed first by Lord Shiva himself. Don't take it literally. Shiva is not seated there composing. But the source of all this wisdom comes from God Himself. And God is Shiva. But in the storyline, Lord Shiva composes the Ramayana and first imparts the teachings of Ramayana to his wife Parvati or Uma Devi. That story will come in the Ramayana. Ramayana is the remover and or destroyer of dosha. 3 types of dosha. Not the dosha we eat, you see. Dosha is defects. Manasa, vacha, karmana. Impurities that affect your mind, speech, and action. These are called 3 defects. 3 types of dukh, miseries, which I have already described as 3 tapas: subjective, objective, and divine. Divine doesn't mean it's sublime. Act of God. And 3 types of poverty. Daridrata. To understand that point here also. Physical poverty. You may have physical body, but you may have some disability in your body. You may have no disability, but you may have disability in your mind. You may not have normal disability, but you may have ego cancer. That's poverty. Poverty also expresses in 3 ways. Manasa, vacha, karmana. Mental thoughts are so little, degrading. Poverty of thought. Your speech is so shallow, uncontrolled. Poverty of speech. And your actions, hardly you pick up a few grains and you start shouting, how much have I done? All these are different aspects of poverty. Dosh, dukh and poverty, daridrata. And kuchali kuli. Kuchal refers to negative movements. Negative movements of Kali Yuga. The world of turmoil, the world that doesn't have deep understanding of God and real culture. That world is dominated by Kali Yuga. And all the negative attributes that develop out of that world, they are called Kali Kuchal. Ramayana is the destroyer of all these and is the destroyer of all sins. Just like when you create a medicine, you give a whole literature. How many things the medicine can do. So it's a divine medicine being prepared by Tulsidas. And how many miseries and troubles can be remedied by that medicine. Again, give you in a simple way, the whole world experience called bhavavyadhi. You are experiencing the world of time and space. That's not your real experience. This is a diseased state. Diseased state of the soul. It's a healthy state, Satchidananda, stripped of all the world of multiplicity. Rachi Mahesh Nijamanasa Rakha, Paisu Samau Shivasana Bhasha, Tate Ram Charita Var, Dhareu Nama Hiya Heri Harashi Har. Great Lord Shiva composed the Ramayana, but he kept it in his own mind. Finding a fortune predicament, situation, he related the Ramayana to his wife Parvati Devi. That's his storyline. More philosophy line. The divine wisdom comes from Brahman. That wisdom known as jnana and bhakti, they are first promoted through Prakriti. Prakriti is Parvati Devi. Remember, Brahman and Prakriti. Brahman is the Purusha, is described as a God, as a male. Prakriti is described as female. So God, as if talks to Prakriti. And Prakriti in turn promotes that wisdom of God. This is all allegorical. But in the storyline, Shiva tells Uma, Parvati, all the story, how Rama was born, how he grew up, and all the details, how he destroyed Ravana. And it is Shiva who named this great epic work as Ramacharitmanas, the Manasa lake of Lord Rama's divine sports. Kahau katha soi sukhad suhai, sadara sunahu sujana man lai. That very teaching, that which came from Shiva, to be listened to by Uma Devi, that very teaching is being made available to your ears. Try to see the difference between mother's ears and your ears. It's a matter of great fortune. What was meant to shine through the ears of Divine Mother, the rings of your Divine Mother are being put into your ears. Figure it out. What was meant for Shiva to show his boundless love for Uma, Parvati, that love is now being opened to all devotees. Jasama nas jahi vidhi bhayav, jag prachara jahi hetu, ab soi kahun prasanga sab, usumiri Uma virshaketu. Now, I will relate to the story of Ramacharitmanas, having meditated on Lord Shiva and Uma, the manner in which Ramayana came to exist, and the purpose for which Ramayana was propagated. All that I will compose. That's what Tulsidas is giving his introduction to this Ramayana. It's all introduction still. Sambhu Prasad Sumati you will see. Ramcharitmanasa Kavi Tulsi Karai Manohar Mati Anuhari Sujan Suchit Sunilehu Sudhari. By Shiva's grace, in my heart, beautiful intellect has blossomed. Heart is the source. In that heart, beautiful intellect is called Sumati. Divine understanding has blossomed. In poetry, he uses the name of his own mother. By Shambhu Prasad, by grace of Shiva, in my heart, Sumati shone by an Tulsi. Tulsi is to shimmer and shine with joy. And Tulsi is the name of Tulsidas' mother. So brings a pun on Tulsi term, that his relationship with the whole Ramayana is as joyous as he had with his own mother. Karai manohar mati anuhari, sujan suchit sunilehu sudhari. I will bring this story according to my understanding. And by God's grace, it's going to be extremely entertaining and inspiring to human mind. And, oh, gentle devotees, listen. And if you want to improve upon it, improve upon it. Use your wisdom. Wherever this taste is lacking, just add some little pepper. With this I will conclude. Om Shri Ramaya Namah, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.